Metal Gear Solid, tactical espionage action. Coming into this project, there was a lot of fun I had doing this series. MGS was the first game I played after stating that I'd start getting into video games once again, and bought the Metal Gear Solid anthology claiming to have 9 games in all within its cover, throwing out Metal Gear 1 and 2 because they are retro games, and Metal Gear Solid VR missions because it was a collection of missions rather than a cohesive game when looking at the summaries of it. That left me with MGS 1 as the first game in the series to play. Before this, I had never thought of playing a stealth game before because the design type seemed too eager to have instant failures littered about it, and while getting caught in MGS leaves you with a high chance of getting massacred, it's almost always your fault for getting caught, and I appreciate that because I did indeed fuck up. Combat is a bit arsed up, but that just gives me motivation to sneak past everything rather than murder everyone in the room. Some of the tools were fun to use, like the cardboard box and the Nikita launcher. Keycards were a bit strange to see, but I saw this as a transition problem coming from Metal Gear 2. This was definitely a fun introduction to the genre with a widespread plot, not really deep into anything multi-level, but with well-rounded characters and a well-spoken villain controlling everything. Bosses were probably the best part of the game because they're the most unique and challenging. There are small issues all over the place, but nothing overly telling of bad design. This game spawned a franchise following in its name, and it rightly deserved one. The game progression making perfect use of the stealthing with the bosses breaking up the action at regular time periods, elevating the fun, and just being a fun game to play all the way through. One of the best parts of this game is that even though it was 20 hours long, it never left the one area, Shadow Moses Island. The game let us enter fully into a unique and detailed world full of all sorts of facilities and challenges, packed with guards with Foxhound lurking at every turn. There's a reason that players can still remember Shadow Moses almost word for word after bumbling through it, and it's because of this need to immerse us completely into its world, with progression limiting progress with various types of hurdles getting to fully appreciate the entire building as it is designed. Metal Gear Rex and Liquid Snake were what the entire traversing of Shadow Moses was about, and they are the rightful final bosses, letting Solid Snake defeat his rival and save the world from its nuclear capabilities at the same time. The objective was completed, and Otacon, Solid, and Liquid Snake and Revolver Ocelot all escaped the island intact, and essentially everyone lived happily ever after. If this game didn't work, it could have been a standalone piece admirably since it didn't introduce a ton of overarching content that needed explaining, and while Otacon and Solid Snake are being picked up, I'm going to round out my final thoughts with these scores. Gameplay. Again, this was my first stealth game, not knowing necessarily how to proceed from there. In the first area, I was finally starting to get the hang of basic sneaking in order to get to the first elevator. Picking this game as an introduction was the best choice because the game doesn't make sneaking the top priority. It's just used as a device to create entertainment and move the plot without being in the way all at the same time. Complete with a swath of specialty tools and keycards, allowing you to find easier ways to get around problems while retaining the core focus of sneaking. None of the weapons you will ever find will be able to eliminate the needed sneaking skills since you are a lone man taking on a terroristic organization with limitless manpower at its disposal. The gameplay deserves a top mark at 9 1/3 Triforces. Story. At the outset, taking down this terrorist organization alone seems to be the only plot the game has up its sleeve, but as Solid Snake starts completing objectives and acquiring information, he starts to see that the world around him is changing and the stakes are climbing higher as by the time Solid Snake gets to the final hangar, the Metal Gear Rex project has been easily completed and is preparing for launch. Thanks to the constant scripted check-ins by your NPC allies through your radio, the story changes that much more as a dissenter among them seems to have marked you out for death. Even the people you are asked to kill have unique backstories and motivations that they monologue before death after winning, and to put the cherry on it, this game actually includes a moral choice out of nowhere. I never thought I'd be seeing one from such an early game. Kojima has been accused by some of having terrible writing skills, but for being able to create such a world that seems like a living thing affected by the people within its walls, it may be badly presented, but it damn well comes together as a captivating military tale. 9 2/3 Triforces for this category. Fun. I had loads of fun with Metal Gear Solid, enough to keep me going through the rest of the series on my collection disc. The game was great, the story was amazing, and the bosses had some of the classics in its realm, not easily forgettable and definitely viable nostalgia fuel. Metal Gear Solid hits home on all levels of what a video game can be judged by. After finishing all it had to offer, I'm proud to give this category a 9 Triforces for fun. Metal Gear Solid was the transition of the traditional 2D aspects of Metal Gear 1 and 2 into full 3D, with the first generation 3Difying available, which actually made it look worse than Super Mario 64. I played the original PSX version because it was a download code and not actually on the disc. Faces literally painted on with zero animation. I wasn't able to truly appreciate Psycho Mantis' ugliness until I saw the remake due to the technology difficulties. But like others have stated, art direction kicks graphics in the head every time, and this was a great use of that direction in producing a lifelike world with interesting characters. A final score of 28 out of 30 should make it perfectly clear why this game launched an ever-growing franchise even with the main character dead in his tracks. So another game down and another one comes next video. Metal Gear Solid 2, Sons of Liberty starts with a 9-part series. The last words, like all other videos, are victory for gamers. I'll see you next time.